Are hidden habits threatening your dream retirement? Today, we are spotlighting the most common money mistakes that trip up retirees and, more importantly, how you can steer clear. You're listening to Jacksonville's Retirement Coach. Our host, Adam Wolf, is a certified financial planner and president of Wolf Retirement Navigation. If you're ready to start the path to a clear and more confident retirement, connect with Adam and his team at wolfretirement.com. Adam, great to see you.
Great to see you too.
Super excited to dive into this because, we always talk about the path to retirement, but let's be honest, there can be some roadblocks that pop up and sometimes people bring them on themselves. And so I thought that would be a great topic for today's discussion. What are some retirement roadblocks, some bad habits that retirees and pre-retirees do that can sabotage their retirement?
Yeah, I mean, we have ones that are out of our control and the ones that are in our control. And we focus on the ones that are in our control and try to reduce the risk of the ones that are out of our control as much as possible to have a smooth ride in retirement to where you can enjoy your retirement, enjoy all these hard-earned years and building, the portfolio up and having all the stuff to be able to enjoy it. So yeah, we try to limit and reduce the roadblocks as much as possible.
Right. So what are some of let's dive in a little bit to the ones that we can control, because obviously, like you said, there are some that we can't, but certainly there are those out there that we can control. So let's start with those. What are some of the retirement roadblocks that we put up on ourselves?
Yeah, the biggest one, after taking a look at, what you saved, and taking an inventory of income sources and savings, and whether it's 401ks, IRAs, Roths, taking that inventory, you have all this stuff. But when you retire, you have to replace what? Income, your income from working. Now, not having a spending plan of how to spend the money. Let me preface it by saying it's not, hey, I want to go to Publix and spend it, or I want to go on the cruise and spend it. Not having a withdrawal plan on paper that shows when and where to pull the money from, which buckets are going to be more advantageous, whether it's you have buckets allocated to stocks or ETFs or mutual funds or the 401k, and then also just as important, if not more important sometimes, are the buckets, what kind of taxability of the income that you're generating by taking the withdrawals. If you're taking it from a 401k or an IRA, it's income in the year you take it. So we have to take that into account, what tax bracket you're going to be in. So having a tax projection within a spending plan, it's your assets and how much you need to generate to spend, and your income, whether it's Social Security, maybe you have a pension, maybe you have a part-time gig for fun or because you need to, but it's after tax, what you're taking home, that is the most important thing. But year by year, account by account, having the confidence of where your money's coming from to enjoy it. Because once you check that box and get that confidence, it makes it a little bit easier to spend it.
It's that term sequence of withdrawals that we hear in the retirement world, the retirement verbiage, but that's what you're talking about, where we're going to decide it's more advantageous to take money from this bucket because, say, the market's down and we want to leave the 401k in a little bit longer and not touch that so it can come back up. So we're going to pull from this bucket over here versus a different year that withdrawal plan might look different. Am I understanding that correctly?
Sure. To go into a little bit more in detail, an example is a client came in and they're thinking about paying off, the mortgage. And, that's a great idea because the mortgage interest rate, it made sense to pay it off. They didn't want to have any more debt. This is the last of the debt. And so they wanted to pay it all off at once in the year they retired. And so we crunched the numbers, and to pull money out of their IRA, it would have cost them 22% in taxes. Whereas if they waited, I made the recommendation to wait 2 more months to get to January. And at that point in time, they were going to be in the 12% tax bracket projected for 2026. So to save 10% of a significant amount of money that they needed to pull out, that's why you hire us. That's why you hire me, to help you, because I just saved you a tremendous amount of money where you would have gotten potentially taxed at a higher rate if you didn't know that information.
Absolutely. That's your money you worked hard for. We don't want to give any more to Uncle Sam than we have to.
No, especially the way they're spending it. It's horrible.
Right. Right. I think another roadblock that comes to mind when I think of things that could potentially sabotage retirement planning is failing to calculate inflation and unforeseen circumstances, such as health issues. Talk to me a little bit about that and what aspects can we control on that side of it?
The costs of health care, because I hate it when they talk about, hey, it's healthcare this and healthcare that, when they're really talking about health insurance.
Mm.
Healthcare is how we take care of ourselves. And then going to a doctor or a physician or a hospital group to help us depending on your situation. So that's the care itself versus the insurance. So number one, you want to make sure you are insured to the proper level of what you're comfortable with.
Hmm.
While your working years, it's what your plan offers basically. And then, when you hit 65, that's Medicare age. That's doing Part B and also a Medigap plan or a supplemental plan to pick up a lot of those costs. And then the other thing is take into account what could potentially come down the road with inflation with medical, but also, gosh, it's like, do I have a history of long-term care needs in my family? And I have a bunch of clients that have that, whether it's their family members, friends that have needed significant care in their later years, and that stuff's not cheap. So there's ways to address it. You want to also address it. Sometimes it's self-insuring it, paying for it yourself with your assets. Going on Medicaid in the future, potentially drawing down your assets for that, or hedging the risk with an insurance-based solution for it. So there's different ways to skin that cat. I like cats, by the way. So I should use a different analogy, but yeah, there's ways to get it done, but you need to at least address it first and foremost.
You mentioned taxes a little bit earlier, using that example of a client that you had and saving them 10%. Another thing that I think comes up that can sabotage retirement planning is not accounting for RMDs. We sort of set that aside and we don't necessarily address it until it's right upon us, but that can be an unpleasant roadblock in what would otherwise be a smooth retirement plan if there was a little advanced planning done. So talk to me a little bit about RMDs and how they can either be a roadblock or help with a smoother path.
Yeah, well, so with RMDs, we're talking about required minimum distributions from tax deferred plans. Those are IRAs, 401ks, if you worked for the school system, 403bs, worked for the government, TSPs, things that you put your money into. You got the tax deferred benefit on the front end when you put it in, the year you put it in, and then when you pull the money out, it's taxable income. So okay, so you're going right along, you're in retirement. Most people are already taking withdrawals from their accounts to live off, to enjoy, to spend. So RMDs are really a moot point for many people.
Hmm.
But then down the road, and it used to be age 70 and a half, and I talked to some new prospective clients the other day. They thought that they had to take that money out at 70 and a half because they hadn't been taking any draws from their IRAs. And they didn't know about the new rules, and the new rules or the recent rules where it's now age 73. And then in a few more years from now, it's going to be 75. So it was 70 and a half. It went to 72, 73, 75. So we had to keep up with all this stuff. But what it is the government's forcing you to take a percentage of your IRA balance or your 401k balance, whatever you have, and they're forcing you every year to take some out. So the risk is if you don't take it out, there's a penalty for it. It used to be a very high penalty that they never assessed. I'll tell you, now never say never, but everything I've seen the last 25 years, never have seen it, read about it. But then they reduced it to 25%. Now it's going down to 10%. So I could foresee the government starting to assess penalties for people not taking it out in the year that they're supposed to do it. Now, because that's the rule, you have to, once you hit 73, you need to take out about 4% a year, and then it increases a little bit more every year of the balance that you have. But the other risk is people get caught up with, oh my gosh, I haven't had to use this money. Maybe 30, 40% of the folks I work with never needed to use that money. So now they have these big balances that they had to take percentages out of. And that's just taxable income on top of taxable income. So two things we can do prior to that age, We can convert to Roth IRAs. We could take money out and reinvest it into taxable accounts that has a lower tax along the way account. So depending on the unique goals and situations of the client, we can then put the money to work and wash it of the taxes in the year where they're hopefully going to be in a lower tax bracket. And then number two, if you've already at RMD age and you don't need to use those RMDs, you can reinvest those in tax-free solutions, reinvest them in other places. The only caveat is the government does not allow you to take those RMDs to convert into Roth. That's where we lose the conversion for that. But let's just say your RMD is $20,000, but you can still convert more than you can do 20,000 conversion plus a $20,000 RMD. You can still convert, but you just have less of that availability to convert. It can still be done and we still help our clients with, but the goal here is to know what's coming, know what the rules are and what the penalties could be, and is playing by their game to your best of your ability, knowing the rules and making it happen.
I know we've said this before. It's that age-old adage of the best time to start retirement planning was yesterday. But if you didn't do it yesterday, then at the very least, you need to jump in and start having these conversations today, so you're not waiting until that last-minute moment where your options get a little more limited. Talk to me about one or two more roadblocks that let's wrap it up with a couple more little tips of what we can control. We know we can't control everything, but what can we control?
A big one is, and this is the judgment-free zone. No judgment, okay? No, no judgment.
So you're about to drop a truth bomb. That's what you're telling me. There's a truth bomb coming.
For anybody listening, whether you're a client or not, it is delaying or avoiding estate planning. It's the last thing people want to think about, because when you think about estate planning and you go through the conversations where you want your stuff to go when you die. That's tough for a lot of people to face.
Right.
And most of the folks that I work with are in retirement or nearing retirement, because that's what we focus on. So many times you've had a will when you're younger and you've had that same will, or you move from out of state, you have a will from another state. There's no judgment here. We have great attorneys that we work with that draft documents, but we help identify the risks and the need. And within that estate planning, whether you need just a will with beneficiary designations, maybe a ladybird deed to pass your house on without probate, or if you need a trust because you have some situation where you need to sort of direct what you have in the future when you're no longer here. Maybe you have a child that has a spending problem or has a special needs situation, or multiple family members that need multiple things. A trust may be more appropriate for you, but going through those conversations, we have those conversations with our clients to make sure that they have all their boxes checked. And then we make referrals to attorneys that work really well on the estate planning side that are licensed in the state of Florida to draft documents, appropriate documents that you need for your estate plan.
That leads me, I think, to what is a great last question for it. But talk to me a little bit about how the psychology of some of these financial decisions can actually hinder your path to retirement, because there is that emotional factor.
Yeah, there's a few. I mean, we got, the euphoria of things when they go up. The markets are growing up. We want to ride the wave of everything going up. That's one thing. That's the greed factor, where we want things to go up. Then there's the fear factor. When things go down, it's the panic. In retirement, we want to have a smooth ride to eliminate as many of those fears and greeds as we can get. So that's number one. Another one is that I meet with folks for the first time. It's procrastination. Just to get into the office, you had to make a bunch of steps to get here, that's the first. Pat yourself on the back, taking an inventory of what you have, coming in and meeting with me, whether it's with me or somebody else, just taking that first step to, it's never too late to start to plan, but the procrastination gets in the way of people as well, because we're busy, we're working, we might be taking care of an adult parent, we might be taking care of our kids, we have life going on. And so, but yeah, fear, greed of the markets, and then, reducing or eliminating those as much as possible. And also the procrastination, just getting that first step done, putting the burden on us to work for you is a pretty great great step. Hey, put it on Adam and his team, take it off my plate, put it on his plate. And that's what we do for our clients day in, day out.
Well, we certainly can't control every facet of retirement or retirement planning, but there are certainly steps that we can take today that will make a smoother ride tomorrow. And if you're ready to build not just a plan, but a partnership, head on over to wolfretirement.com to schedule that complimentary, no obligation consultation. Sit down with Adam, ask the questions, and get the conversation going. Don't delay it till tomorrow because, as Adam said, procrastination is one of the roadblocks that we put upon ourselves. And of course, be sure to subscribe wherever you're listening so that you never miss an episode. Adam, I always appreciate these conversations. I love just how you tell it to us like it is. You don't sugarcoat, you don't judge, but you don't sugarcoat either, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's the judgment-free zone. I can promise you that.
Judgment-free. I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much for your insight today, and I look forward to chatting again soon.
Awesome. Thank you.
Investment advisory services offered through Coil Capital LLC, a registered investment advisor. Wolf Retirement Navigation LLC and Coil Capital LLC are not affiliated. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. No investment strategy can guarantee a profit or protect against loss in periods of declining values. Opinions expressed are subject to change without notice and are not intended as investment advice or to predict future performance. Past performance does not guarantee future results. Consult your financial professional before making any investment decision. This information is designed to provide general information on the subjects covered. It is not, however, intended to provide specific legal or tax advice and cannot be used to avoid tax penalties or to promote, market, or recommend any tax plan or arrangement. Please note that Wolf Retirement Navigation LLC and its affiliates do not give legal or tax advice. You are encouraged to consult your tax advisor or attorney. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurer. Any references to protection or benefits or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products. They do not refer in any way to securities or investment advisory products or services. Fixed insurance and annuity product guarantees are subject to the claims paying ability of the issuing company and not offered by Coil Capital LLC. Florida Insurance License Number W016816.